Kamala Harris continues her campaign blitz in Michigan today before headed to Arizona for the fourth time this year. Yesterday, Harris and her new running mate, Tim Walz, rallied in Wisconsin with the most liberal ticket in decades, touted that they will bring down inflation. Even though inflation skyrocketed under Harris's time in office, the pair blaming former President Trump and price-fixing schemes for rising prices. Watch this.
While our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. When I was Attorney General, I went after price-fixing schemes. And when I am president, it will be a day-one priority to fight to bring down prices. I will take on big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging. Strengthening our economy and building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
If he gets a chance to go back to the White House, it will be far worse than it was 4 years ago. Raising costs for the middle class. Donald Trump is not for you or your family.
Here's the vice president back in 2021 when she was asked about how to handle inflation.
Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up. Families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously.
But offering no solutions. Then in Michigan, Vice President Harris facing off with anti-Israel protesters for the first time in her campaign, even after adding Tim Walz to her VP to satisfy progressives in Michigan and Minnesota. Watch this.
I'm here because we believe in democracy. Everyone's voice matters, but I am speaking now. I am speaking. If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
All right, lots to talk about here this morning with this esteemed panel. Let's talk first on inflation, Mark. She had no answers whatsoever, and what's missing in all of her conversations about how inflation got here was all the spending.
Yeah.
$7 trillion in spending is what sent inflation largely to 40-year highs on her watch.
Too many dollars chasing too few goods. We've been on this for years now. But when you actually look at the data, inflation was 1.4% year over year when President Trump left office.
That's right.
It peaked almost 18 months into Joe Biden's presidency at 9.1%. So as soon as they entered the White House, they continued to spend recklessly. I mean, right now we are running a deficit that's consistent with a 7% unemployment rate. We were below 4% earlier this year. You don't spend like that. And beyond that, continuing to give consumers stimmy checks. Well after the economy was already reopened, we were far removed from a recession. That caused a ton of inflation.
Yeah, and that's the issue. We don't have any evidence that, in fact, she understands that it was the spending that did that, because they're all in on their climate change agenda. And that's what Tim Walz has been doing as well in Minnesota. Mahek, there's also this anti-Israel component to all that's going on. You saw that exchange with Kamala and the people there last night.
Well, it's not shocking. Kamala Harris really does not know how to handle world peace on a foreign stage. She has been a Hamas cheerleader right next to Joe Biden. She doesn't really know how to handle this extreme base, so she continues to yell back at hecklers because she doesn't have solutions right now. You have Biden and Harris not giving the support that they need to Israel. They're actually asking Israel to de-escalate. How dare you? They're supposed to be our allies. We should be sending in support and asking Israel, what can we do for you? But when you send signals that are mixed signals, in my opinion, smoke signals, you are now continuing to show that the American people, that Israel doesn't matter. And let's talk about even her pick. She picked Walz over Shapiro. That would have actually solidified that base. She needed those voters. But this is where Kamala Harris continues to show you how extreme she is. She has turned her back on Jews in America. She has turned her back on every single American worker as she continues to laugh at inflation and shows no solutions.
I think there was a red line for the Jewish voter out there. And when they stopped sending weapons and they held back weapons to Israel during Israel's fight for survival, literally, people got upset. And I think they did lose some votes in terms of the Jewish community. Lee, what are you seeing in terms of all of your work?
What I think is really fascinating is they're trying to tout that they actually are, they're saying we're not anti-Semitic. We have more Jewish senators than anybody else. We have more, Jewish Congress people than anybody else. But the truth of the matter is the shift in demographics in the Republican Party is extreme. People who are Jewish are now really looking at Donald Trump and re-looking at these policies. And I think it's really important that we understand that that is the reality and that how important it is to them.
Yeah.
The other thing I think I have to point out, and I cannot believe that Kamala is out there saying, on day one of my presidency, I'm going to go after price gouging, as if that is what inflation is.
That's the issue, right?
Okay, as if that's the issue. One, it demonstrates she has no idea what she's talking about. And number two, you're the vice president. Why haven't you been doing it for the last 3.5 years if that's what you think the root cause of inflation is? It is so infuriating to me that 20 days ago, she was the most unpopular vice president in the history of polling, and today she has 88% voter enthusiasm, and people are suddenly acting like she's Elvis or the second coming, and yet her solutions have gotten us nowhere.
Well, Fox News power rankings still show former President Trump with an edge over Vice President Kamala Harris, even after adding Tim Walz to the Democrat ticket. As an NPR poll shows, Harris's biggest gap is with voters under 45 years old, which Biden won by 14 points. Of course, he promised them all to forgiveness of student debt. He won by 14 points, that group, in 2020. Harris and Trump are currently tied with that group right now. Meanwhile, Democrats launched crypto for Harris to counter Trump's growing influence within that industry, help pull in younger voters. The group plans to host a virtual town meeting this week with speakers like Mark Cuban and Trump critic Anthony Scaramucci is going to be on that call. Lee, you just mentioned what she said about the schemes. That's because Joe Biden has blamed corporate America. That's the only place they can go. They have to point fingers on inflation, so they have to blame big companies, not their own work on spending $7 trillion on their watch.
And that's why they're also talking about making America a less corporate-friendly country.
Yeah.
When you look at, she's a California liberal. Look how California operates when it comes to treating businesses. Is that what we want for this country? We don't want economic growth. We want to tax companies so that they're going to have to move offshore again.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable that we're in a day and age where we're attacking companies which are the backbone of this country.
Yeah. Well, Chevron recently, the latest, to say, I'm out of here, going to Texas. All right, stay with us. A lot more to come this morning. We're checking markets when we come right back. We'll be right back.